Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Tepiso, and I will be your moderator for the day. This is our Doctor of Engineering Toolbox series, and it is proudly brought to you by the Engineering Institute of Technology. Some common FAQs and questions, of course. So you will receive a recording as well as the slides to this particular webinar. They will be sent to you by the marketing team within 2 business days. Please keep a close eye on your junk, spam, and promotional folders. The emails might just land there. However, they will most certainly be sent to you. So today's topic is presenting research, and it is presented to you by Professor Akhtar Kalam. He has been doing the Doctor of Engineering Toolbox series since the beginning. There are recordings that you'll be able to find on our website. I will be sure to leave a link for you rather, so that you're able to watch all the previous sessions that we've had. They're also available on our YouTube page. Okay, a little bit more about EIT. So EIT is an engineering institution. We offer engineering courses all the way from a professional certificate to a Doctor of Engineering, which is why you're here today. So depending on your work experience as well as your highest qualifications, you will be able to study a program with us. I will be sure to leave links to our website as well as a link to book a call for our course advisors if you'd like to discuss your study options with them. We offer industry-oriented programs. These are programs that are on par with what the industry is doing and what is currently going on in the engineering field. So you'll always be up to trend and be able to see any update that have come in the industry with this program. We are a world-class Australian accredited provider. Some of our qualifications are actually internationally recognized, respectively, under the Dublin, Sydney, and Washington Accord. These are our advanced diplomas, bachelor's degrees, as well as our Masters of Engineering programs. And we have industry experience lecturers. These lecturers have had time in the field and now imparting their knowledge from the field into the learning or lectures at our institution. And then finally, we deliver a unique module of learning, which is either online or on campus. Depending on your needs, you can study your programs 100% online. You're also welcome to study them on campus, and the programs that we offer on campus are our HE programs, that being our bachelor's degree, master's, as well as the Doctor of Engineering programs. That's it from me for this portion of the lecture, of the session rather. I'm going to present to you Professor Kalam. If you guys have any questions, please make sure to leave them in the Q&A section, or you can also leave them in the chat box. You will have an opportunity to ask your questions to Professor Kalam at the end of the presentation. Thank you so much for joining us. I will see you on the other side of the presentation. Thank you so much, Professor Kalam. You may go ahead and take control of the slides and start the presentation.
Thank you very much, Shipuso, and thank you very much for your kind introduction and introduction to the EIT. Let's start the presentation today. Before we start, I just wanted to make sure that you understand that a copy of the slides and videos, recording, etc., will be sent to you by Shipuso on your request. So if you want it, please make sure that you contact Shipuso. Now, this is my 6th seminar that I'm doing on this doctoral toolbox. 2 more is left after this. One is in November and the other will be in December. Normally we have it in the first Thursday of the month. Because I was overseas in the beginning of the month, I couldn't do this session. Therefore, there's a bit of delay of about 20 days in this month that I'm doing the session. But this is a very special one, because you'll find that this is more or less, we're coming to the culmination of our presentation, and this one is basically presenting research. Now, although Shipisu has mentioned about EIT, I would just try to highlight some of the salient points, in particular 5 points I want to talk about. First of all, is that at EIT, we give world-class education. You'll be learning from the best academics in the world, not necessarily in Australia. It could be in any part of the world. The best people that we get are normally the ones who are taking your classes, supervising you, or whatever it is. So, at EIT, we only do one thing, engineering. That's all. We don't do any business. We don't do any computer science. We don't do any management, nothing of that sort. No accountancy, no law, no medicine, nothing of that sort, only engineering. And we specialize in that. Most of our programs are industry oriented, and it is for the industry, by the industry, to the industry. So with the changing technology and industry development, it is hard to keep pace, but we try to, as much as possible, to make sure that everything is industry relevant. All our programs have got accreditation. In particular, we are concerned because of the engineering program, it could be due to Dublin Accord or Sydney Accord or Washington Accord. As I mentioned to you, that we have world-class academics who are teaching, and they all have experience in the industry. And the delivery model, which is the best thing, this is a blended form of teaching. And you find that a lot of interactive and live webinars are there. As I mentioned, it's international pool of experts are there. There are LSOs, this is the learning support officers, we dedicated to you. And we use the state-of-art technologies, such as hands-on workshop, remote laboratories, and simulation software. So much for EIT. About myself, I'm I work in few places, and I'm the editor-in-chief of the Australian Journal of Electrical and Electronic Engineering. I've been teaching in Australia for the last 40 years. So it has been a long era over here. I did my PhD in England and my master's in the United States, and I studied my undergraduate degrees in India. And I have most of the professional qualification that's required. Now, as far as the agenda of today, it's a bit long agenda. I'll try and finish it in time within an hour, but I want to talk to you about what is this research presentation, and why do we have this research presentation? How can you be an effective presenter? And what are the design to give you the best practices? And what are the frequently asked questions on research presentation? And I'll give you some tips and conclusion. So first of all, what's a research presentation? It's basically whatever findings you have got, how you communicate with that. So if you have done any discovery, you want the audience to know, and it can be done in a classroom, in a conference, in a boardroom, whatever it is. This is your opportunity when you're doing the presentation. It's your opportunity to showcase your expertise, and you want to share the results of your hard work, and make clear that this work is pretty hard. It's not simple, because you're going to come up with original contributions and something which has not been done before. Frequently, you've heard about attending conferences. This is not junket, by the way. It's not for fun. It's not for having parties. It's not only for networking. But you want to share your results with others. You want to be the first person who is working in that area. So you want to show that you are the one who initiated, because it could be quite possible that a number of people could be doing work in your area. So therefore, you want to make sure that you establish your credibility right in the beginning, as soon as you started the work. That's why I always say that if you start your DEng work, then when you're doing your review of literature review and all, submit a review paper in a conference, and you'll find that would be very useful. Then the other thing is that you want to get feedback from colleagues. It's a very easy way to get feedback. And remember, before you publish in a journal, you have to publish in in a conference. That way you get credibility, and you know what type of questions will be asked, and your journey to a journal paper will be a lot easier. Journal papers could take more than 1 year to publish. I mean, the last journal paper I had, which came last month, it took me 1.5 years. The one that came before that, again, another journal paper, it took me 2 years. So the one that took 1.5 years was in Helion, and the other one was in Journal of Engineering. So it does take a long time. And if I have feedbacks from colleagues, that time is short and I know exactly what type of questions are there. I can tailor make my paper according to what the reviewers have told me. Now, research presentation to some may appear to be summarizing the findings. Successful examples of research paper will show that it's not that, there's more to that. Now, what's the purpose? Very simple. It's not only to show that this is the data I've got, right? This is the power tool that I've got. It's not only for communication and engagement. The most important thing that you want to do is to share your knowledge. So you are basically a conduit for that conference that is there is a conduit for sharing knowledge. That is where you disseminate your research finding. You eliminate the uncharted realms of your work. So this is about taking the complex and making it comprehensible, and and you have to make it captivating. You don't want to make it boring so that people go to sleep in your presentation. So first thing is that for sharing knowledge. The second thing is academic evaluation. This plays a very important role, a pivotal role in evaluation process. It provides you a platform to defend a dissertation or thesis with vigor and confidence. The more you present, the more confidence you get of your work. And it offers plea for research funding, where your passion and precision could tip the scales in your favor. And people know about you. You might be lucky in getting funding for your project. The third thing which happens is that professional communication. This is not a storytelling session, right? Remember, you could be talking to a corporate world, and you might find a home in the corporate world. Especially, you might find that you might get a job interview because of that. It serves as a bridge connecting your ideas and a potential employer. So it provides an opportunity to demonstrate not just your research skills, but your ability to communicate. Remember, you might have the best research, and if you cannot communicate, then you'll find that your research may not have enough value. And when you communicate, remember the skill of communication. Look at me, how I'm communicating. I'm looking at you. My hands are communicating. My mouth is communicating. My eyes is communicating. Every part of my body is communicating with you. And that's called communication. So the bigger picture is not just slides and data, but an embodiment of your dedication and expertise. This is basically the presentation is a tool for persuading, inspiring, and inciting action. So fundamentally, it is providing you a gateway to engage, educate, and advocate, whether in academic circles, professional settings, or public platforms. So, so what are the core objectives? And the core objectives are as follows. First of all, you're disseminating information. That means you're sharing the insight and discovery that you have done in 2 years, 3 years, 1 year, whatever number of years, where you are showing how you have advanced in knowledge. Then engaging. That means when you present, you captivate your audience. You convey your complex data in a very simple manner. And you're getting feedback and discussion. Therefore, remember, people get scared of questions and answers, and I get very excited when someone asks me questions. The reason is that it gives me better reflection of what I have been talking about. So questions are a good way of getting information of what people are looking for. Maybe I missed out on that. And the question of feedback and discussion gives me, and I can then refine and expand my research. And the most important thing, peer review. In a conference, when you're going, you've got colleagues of your field. They're giving you a free review process. They're not charging you anything. So it could be academia, and it could be from the industry. Nowadays, you find many conferences has many participants from industry too, and their expertise are quite valid and has got a lot of quality. The other thing is educational. That's another objective. So by disseminating knowledge about a particular topic, you are contributing to the education. That is persuasion. And that's where if you're applying for a grant application, your presentation could aim to persuade the audience to support your funding for the research project. Then a very good thing is networking. People forget how important networking is because this gives you an opportunity to network with peers, with professionals and stakeholders who are working in your field. PD, which is professional development. Here is your chance by your communication skills and professional development that you can enhance both the communication skills and your PDs. Then public awareness. You're raising public awareness about significant issues or findings that have a direct impact on society. Remember, anything that you do has got a societal impact. Your research presentation is not slides. Many people think that if I have got slides, hundreds of slides, then it's good. No, no, that's not at all important. You might have only 10 slides, and 10 slides can take about half an hour, 40 minutes to talk about in 10 slides. It's basically those slides is there or those presentations that you have made is a means of communication and connection with your audience. So this gives you an ability to convey your research clearly articulated, engage in your audience, and there's where you get success. Whether you are in an academic realm, you are in a corporate world, or in the public sphere. Remember, you are not just presenting data, you are sharing knowledge, sharing knowledge, sharing knowledge. You are engaging your audience and you are advocating a cause. What are the different types of presentation? Let's see that. Um, and they are the oral presentation. Let's start with the oral presentation. First is the most common one that we have, which is conference, where you are going to present your findings to a very specialized audience. This is a platform that you have got in-depth discussions and you get peer feedback. Right. The seminar presentation. This is often conducted at universities or research institutions. These presentations delve deep into a research topic, encouraging detailed discussion and expert insight. Now, the seminar could be by a leading professor or a leading an academic or leading industry specialist. It could be by a professional body, or it could be a university, or could be a research center. Then there could be a lecture series. That means there's a particular topic organized by the universities or a professional body, and you want to have a whole series of lecture. This gives you an opportunity for micro credentials in a program. Nowadays, micro credentials has become very important. Um, there are a lot of people in the industry who would like to upgrade their skills, and these lecture series in a short period of time, between 3 to 10 days, they get the same sort of feeling as if they have been attending a seminar of a semester in a university. So these are very comprehensive, and they do on a particular subject. They work on it. Say, for argument's sake, power system stability. You have a 3-day program only on power system stability. Then after that, that's the first one, which is the oral one. Now the poster. In conference, you find that because they do not have enough There are a lot of papers and they want to publish as many papers as possible. It's credibility to you because your paper is publishable, but they don't want to go more than 3 days, and you find that that they might ask you to do a poster presentation. This is in no way an inferior presentation. It's very important that you understand. There you will be making a visual presentation of research by using large posters, might be A2, A1 type of posters that you put it. And and this is normally you find poster presentation in most of the academic conferences. In fact, in one A1 page or A2 page, you have to put a snapshot of all the research that you have got, right? And make all the complex data more accessible. Then it could be academic fairs. Frequently, you have got to showcase research projects at undergraduate or high school level. And I remember in Australian Power Institute, which is a very common one here, many of our undergraduate who are final year who are doing that, they normally present to high schools and to other undergraduates the work that they are doing. Now, these exhibitions make research engaging for students. Also, it promotes the area. The third thing, so I've talked about conference, I've talked about poster, and I'm talking about online or webinar presentation. Webinars are becoming very common, and the way I'm doing at the moment, this is a webinar where I'm sharing my experience, my work, and you as an audience are remote to me, but it may not have that same impact. It may not have the same impact as it may not have the same impact as face to face, but at least it has 90% impact when even if you are remotely connected, you cannot come to Melbourne and I cannot go to wherever you are. At least we have got some way of forming of a relationship between you and me. And you can at least get get a feeling of the presentation that is there. Here, one very good thing in this webinar presentation is the Q&A session. If you remember, Shipushu says that put your question in a Q&A box. So using Q&A box, you can ask questions and it's very easy way to get some answers, quick answers. Then you can have online workshops. This is hands-on interactive presentation that teach research methodologies or specific skills. This is ideal for engaging the audience in a virtual setting. So we have finished the third form. The fourth form is thesis. Now this is very important. In Australia, many universities do not have these. They do not have Viva Voce, but all over the world, we have got Viva Voces. On one or two universities do Viva Voce. In our DEng program, we have got a Viva Voce, and we've got presentation of our thesis at EIT. But not all universities follow that because of the far setting of Australia. It's hard to get examiners to come to Australia. Therefore, they've decided only on the thesis, and the examination is done virtually from somewhere far off. But you know, it is very common. I remember when I was doing my PhD in England, I had to defend my thesis in front of a committee. So this is where you have in-depth discussions on your research, and you have to respond to questions. Fortunately, my own one at Bath, when I was doing my PhD, it only took 45 minutes. I've heard about students being grilled for 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, depending on how much the examiners wants to go deep into that. The fifth one is Ignite presentation. These are basically fast-paced presentations where there is fixed number of slides, very limited time, and you want to convey the message. This is a dynamic format. It encourages clarity and conciseness. The last two, the panel discussions, a very interesting one. And you find that especially when there is industry presentation and all, we always like to have panel experts sitting over there who talk about a particular topic or related research area. These discussions give you a well-rounded view of the subject. And then I don't know whether you've heard about TED Talks or public lectures, okay, where a general audience is there, you engage them in an accessible manner, and TED Talks are beautiful. If you have not seen that, have a look at, do a Google search and look at some of the TED Talks. They're absolutely wonderful, mind-boggling, and it captivates an audience. And in very simple way, a very complex idea, it makes it understandable and captivating. The other things are corporate or research presentation, especially if you're giving it in front of your executive, especially the CEO or your colleagues or stakeholders, in particular in business or industry settings. You have to be very careful of these type of presentations because they'll be trying to find out the practical application and implication for the company. Nowadays, they're very, very conscious about ROI, which is return on investment. They don't mind spending millions of dollars on your project, provided they can get a buck out of it. But they will not spend $10 if they will lose money. So companies are very, very particular on ROIs. Then the pitch presentation, where you pitch your research project to potential funders, collaborators, or sponsors. Here, you should have an ability to convey the research values and potential very, very effectively. Media interviews are an interesting one. And I do a lot of them, especially in a TV or radio or podcast or talking to journals, because they write a written article. The challenge is to convey complex idea to a broad audience. There's another challenge also, is sometimes the person who's the journalist who's looking and talking to you gives the wrong message. So you must always ask the journalist to send you a copy before publishing so that you know that these are accurate reflection of what you've actually talked about. Then educational workshop. These are in educational context, researchers teach others about a particular subject or research method. I don't know about you, but I always found when I was also an undergraduate student, that when I was teaching my colleagues, my student members, I used to teach them and I could understand the topic better when I taught others. So when I talk to others on my topic, that's the best way of learning, I think. So here you can transfer knowledge and skills very effectively. Then there are research reports, especially if you've got funding, you have to write these formal reports. You have to communicate your findings, and it has to be written in a document. They are often very thorough documentation and publication. The interactive exhibits, these are at science centers or museums and engage the public with their research. I remember my own case, I built a high voltage theater in Science Work. It's a museum in Victoria and Melbourne. And, uh, the daily show is there and the museum earns more money out of my research than I do because they show all these high voltage flashes and flashovers and those noises. It excites the crowd. So fundamentally, what I'm trying to do is make my research accessible and engaging to a wide audience, not necessarily only engineers, but a wider public. And then there's a government or policy briefings. You might put your presentation to policymakers because that's where the decision making is going to take place. Look, it takes three to tango. It is you as a researcher, it's the industry, it's a collaborator, it's a government, and they all one third. So remember, all three have to tango together. You cannot omit the government, you cannot omit the industry. You can't be all yourself, you won't be able to survive. You need all three to tango. So these meetings or discussions or with a presentation that you make with a policymaker has got a direct impact on policy. Therefore, it needs quite a bit of clarity and relevance. Peer review. I always, as a matter of fact, I was just correcting a thesis, and the student had published 7 journal papers, did not publish a single conference paper. One of my suggestions was that, can you publish at least one good conference paper? Because there you can get peer reviews from your own colleagues will give you a better review. So especially, when you give it, a group of peers provide you with constructive feedback, and that's so useful, that feedback. This is essential because it ensures that your research is of quality and is valid. So in the world of research presentation, adaptability is a key. Researchers often need to tailor their content and suit to the context and meet the expectation of their audience. Remember, the choice of presentation type should align with goals and the nature of your research. Each format has its own strength, and they have got a valuable tool. Remember the three things: sharing knowledge, engaging the audience, achieving the research. So it's basically a C: sharing, achieving, and engaging. So now the question is that, what should a research presentation have? So as I told you, not just slides, right? You have to be careful that these are meticulously crafted. It informs, engages, and inspires. You do not want your audience to be sleeping. Make it very, very pointed type, maybe only for 10 minutes, but engage your audience, inform your audience, inspire your audience. So, but there are some indispensable things to consider. One is introduction. You must start with an introduction. This is your opening act. This is your opening scene. This is where you introduce your topic, explain its significance, and clearly state your research questions or hypotheses. Think of it as a setting the stage for the story you're about to tell. That is my introduction. Then the background. Some people call it literature review. This is an opportunity to equip your audience with the necessary content to grasp the intricacy of your research, what others have done. This might talk about relevant theories, prior research, fundamental concepts. This is how you ensure your audience starts on the same page as you want them to be. So you start from scratch and you have told them what others have done. And this is where you also point out where the research gap and what you're trying to fulfill. Then comes methodology, how you're doing the research, how you're going to share the methods you employed in your research, such as how you've done the data collection, how you've done the sampling process, how you have chosen the methods of analysis. This is where you've got a backstage pass to the mechanism of your studies. Since you're doing the work, I think this is a very important work, and you will be the master of this work. Then you get research results. The research results is where you have got your findings. This is where you have got your spotlight on your results. It has to be clear and concise. It should have, in engineering in particular, we use a lot of tables, graphs, figures, etc. All these visuals, you has to communicate the results effectively. It's not enough to say figure 2.1 is the results that I've got. What does that result signify? What does figure 2.1 says? Then a discussion. So the data that you've got, you discuss its implication, how the findings are related to your research questions or objectives. Are there any limitations or potential sources of bias, and offers insight into the broader implications and practical applications of your research? This is a critical part where you demonstrate your analytical skills and the value of your work. And then the last is conclusion. Naturally, if you started with an introduction, you must have a conclusion. This is a grand finale of your presentation. It summarizes the main point. So the conclusion will have a reflection of what is there in the introduction, and then there's no work which is completely complete. So you must provide recommendation for future work. This is where you tell them, okay, this is what I've done. Future research, these are the dot points. 20 points could be there. So this is how you can keep on. So no work is stagnant. It keeps on continuing. The journey goes on, and there's continuity in the research. So after you've done that, you find that there's a Q&A session. This is where you engage with your audience. Please don't be scared. If you don't know the answer, it's all right. You may be a bit nervous. It's all right. It's all normal. But invite questions. And be prepared to provide detailed answer and clarify any doubts, try and clarify as much as possible. You might not be, especially in the initial stage, you might have difficulty. But clarify any doubts. These interactions add depth to your presentation, and it ensures comprehensiveness of the audience, how much the audience have comprehended the presentation that you have made. You must have a list of references. Please try and use the list of references, use APA, use IEEE standard, especially for engineering students. Okay, so you have to make sure that you cite the work that you've taken from, or else you would be plagiarizing other people's work. It shows you sound research practice and allows your audience to delve deeper into the literature if they wish to. Acknowledgement, make sure you acknowledge anyone who has given help, especially those who have given you funding sources, those who are collaborators, those who are from other institutions. Acknowledge them. There's nothing wrong. Gratitude goes a long way in the academic community, and it's research to recognize those who contributed to your work. So now some additional tips. Keep your presentation concise and focused. Make sure that you do not overstress or overwhelm your audience. Do not give too much information. Too much information is bad. I mean, although my presentation, because of the way things are today, I like to keep it 6x6 principle, 6 lines, 6, 6, 6, 6. So keep it simple. Use the principle of KISS, I call it. Keep it simple and straight. Use visual aid. Very good. Especially in engineering, the more visual aid you use, the better it is. Very effective. And it avoids overcrowding. Before giving presentation, practice it. Practice, practice, practice. If you want to have a smooth delivery, there are two things that you have to remember. Timing is very important. If they say that you have only 20 minutes, you have to finish it in 20 minutes, or someone will ring a bell in 15 minutes and say that you've got 5 minutes left, and you have to finish it in time. So stay within their allocated time. Engage your audience throughout. Ask questions. Encourage discussion. Make eye contact. I told you everything must be called. Each body chromosome must be talking to each other. Speak clearly and confidently. Avoid jargon, man. Engineers are great in jargon. Okay. And avoid the high flown technical knowledge. Avoid that. Like electrical engineers, they call them sparkies. Not many people know who sparkies are. We in Australia know it, but is it common in subcontinent? No, I don't think so. So make sure that don't use jargon. Transformers, we call it trainee over here. Not many people know. Avoid these type of jargon. So add your style and level of details to your audience background and interest. So if you want to make an effective presentation, it should be clear, it should be organized, it should be engaging, and it ensures that the message is not only informs, but it is captivating the audience. So what are the do's that you have to do? Know your audience. Who are the audience? So make it, I know that you are the audience who are interested in a doctorate program. I can't be talking primary school stuff. And I can't be talking about Nobel Prize stuff. It has to be targeted to someone who is interested in a doctorate program. So tailor your presentation to the needs of your audience, what their backgrounds are, what their interests are. Consider if they're experts in the field. Do they have prior knowledge? Structure your presentation with a very clear structure. Start with an introduction. Outline your methodology. Present your results. Conclude with key takeaways and implications. And as I told you, practice, practice, practice. Rehearse it multiple times. Practice to manage your time effectively. Use visuals because visuals like graphs, charts, and images make all these complex data more accessible and easy to understand. But remember, visual aids should be clear, not blurry, not hazy. Some of us just copy it from a web page, and you can see that it is copied material from web page, and it's very blurry. Those type of it's wastage of time if it's not clear. It should be concise and relevant. Engage your audience. Just talk stories like I was talking about stories about my own PhD journey. Talk about that. Anecdotes, joke a bit, do a bit of throw a bit of a humor in your presentation. Capture your audience attention and keep them engaged. And encourage questions and answers and discussions. So speak clearly and slowly. Don't be too fast. Enunciate your words clearly. Avoid speaking too fast. Make your audience easy for your audience to understand your presentation and follow your presentation. Keep the slide simple, I told you. Okay. Limit the information on each slide. Use bullet points, not paragraph. Avoid excessive animations and transitions. Cite sources. If you have taken someone else's work, acknowledge that work. This shows that you've got academic integrity. Anticipate the questions. Be prepared to answer questions about your research. You have to demonstrate your expertise through understanding of the topic. And time management. Stick to your allocated time. Respect your audience time by not going over the time limit. Don't overload slide. I've seen very hard to see what is written in that slide. It's so overly cluttered and so much text has been used, very hard to see. Do not overwhelm your audience and distract them from the key point. Don't read directly from the slides. I find that people just reading what is written. Your slide should support your presentation, not replace it. So don't read, so avoid reading verbatim. Don't rush. Speaking too quickly can make it hard for the audience to follow your presentation. Speak at a measured pace. Don't assume any prior knowledge. Assume that your audience is a layperson and you're talking to them. So you bring them to a singular platform, which is a base platform, and you talk from there. So provide sufficient background information and don't wing it. Winging a research presentation can lead to disorganization and confusion. Preparation is always a key to a successful presentation. Don't get defensive. If someone challenges your research, okay, be open for a constructive criticism. There's nothing wrong. Don't be defensive or confront someone. Don't neglect visual design. Poor design visuals detracts from your presentation. Pay attention to the design principles. Don't oversimplify or overcomplicate. Have a balance. Okay. Don't use jargon, as I told you, especially the technical jargon. If you use it, explain what that is. Don't monopolize the question and answer. Give an audience to ask you the question and answer them. Give everyone an equal opportunity if they want to ask questions. Sometimes some people monopolize it, especially in the audience. I found some of them doing that. So I want to summarize what I've done. I've been talking about the purpose of research presentation. So this is where you want to share your knowledge. You want to have an academic evaluation, and you want to do professional communication and others. Types, I've given you all the various types, the oral, the posters, the webinars, etc., etc. What are the contents? I've talked about introduction, background, methodology, result, discussion, Q&A sessions, references, and acknowledgement. Structure, organize it logically, use visual if possible, practice, engage your audience, and speak clearly, slowly and clearly. So some of the questions people have asked me, how can I create a research presentation? Okay. Sometimes I ask them to use Prezi. Prezi is a very good, I mean, not a normal PowerPoint. Prezi, I mean, some of you might have seen Prezi. That's a very good way of making a presentation. You don't have to do it, but it's a very good way. Utilize presentation templates and use professional and organized look. Try to include appropriate graphics. Remember, the purpose of presentation is to present your research and in such a way that your audience can follow, not that they get lost. Uh, People ask me, how many slides should I have? And I say, you must have between 1 to 5 minutes per slide. If you've got a 15 minutes presentation, at max, you can have 15 slides. At max. I would rather you have between 10 to 15 slides. But it all depends on the content, right? Avoid using too much detail and use the principle of KISS. Keep it simple and straight. Should I use handout? You don't need to use a handout, okay? But I find that it can be a helpful addition. Uh, it helps the audience to take note and refer back to important things that you have discussed. Be sure that you include your name and contact details on the handout so they know that who has given that handout. What should I do when I'm giving in-person research presentation? Use a projector and present your research paper slowly and clearly. Speak from such a way that they are few feet apart so you'll be able to speak properly. Okay, and use fonts, such like Times Roman, Arial, or whatever it is, so you can have better contrast and readability. Remember not to read verbatim. Be prepared to answer questions. How can I make my research presentation suitable for a symposium? Make sure it's a symposium in the social science or any specific field. First decide whether your audience needs a more technical or a general overview. I always try to avoid formulas and all those things in presentation. Don't give a unnecessary jargon of formulas and all the technical things. Use a table of contents to help guide your presentation. Okay, so people know what they can expect from the presentation. Make sure that the design and content of your presentation meets the need of the audience. Okay, final tips. You have to write an abstract. Remember, you have to write an abstract. An abstract means 1 page long, not 500 pages. Indicate the subject, purpose, briefly discuss the method used, make a statement about the results. Then oral presentation has to be a discussion. Be well prepared. Introduce the subject, talk about the source, indicate if there is a conflict of views, make a statement about your new results, use visual aid. Compiling a PowerPoint, and I've told you the do's are brief and concise, focus, attract attention, use visual, use bullet points, make clear statement. Don't write down the whole outline of your paper and nothing else. Don't write long, full sentences on the slide. Don't distract with colors, patterns, pictures, etc. Don't use too complicated charts and graphs. Now, that much for my presentation. Then I want to end with why you want to choose EIT. And I would like to tell you that if you want to boost your career and position yourself to make more meaningful contribution to your field, go for a DEng, especially if you're working in the industry. EIT has got an accredited program. It's an accredited institution. It has both the online and on-campus model. Even the doctoral program, you can do it from Timbuktu. You don't have to come to Perth or to Melbourne. You can do it from overseas also. You might be in Melbourne, you might have a supervisor in Spain. And the areas are very, very clear. We only do infrastructure type engineering, hardcore engineering, especially electrical, mechanical, civil, and industrial. So therefore, if you are like that, you can maintain a work-life balance. We want you to have a good life balance also. You can take classes or on whatever time of day that best suits you. You don't have to skip your work. We don't want you to do that. As I told you, we are engineering specialists, industry oriented. We are world class one. All our lecturers are industry expert, and the delivery is very, very unique. Okay. The DEng program in particular is flexible. Okay. The delivery method is unique. You have 32 hours of coursework and 88 hours of research. Industry, for the industry, by the industry, to the industry. Work integrated. There's research and there's contribution. I can only say good luck. This is a challenge and it's an expedition to the frontiers of human knowledge. No matter whatever the outcome, I can assure you, you will gain a lot and learn a lot, not only about the field, but about yourself. Thank you very much. Sipusha, with that, I have concluded my presentation and I am on time. So if there are any questions and answers, I'm more than happy to, to take them.
Thank you so much, Professor Kalam. It was a pleasure hosting this presentation for you. You do already have a question. It is in the Q&A section of our webinar session. Are you able to see that question?
Just 1 minute. Someone by the name of Shifa has written that
Yes, that is correct.
the CPE associate member in CPE Australia and a part qualified CEO. I have 12 years experience in corporate finance, auditing, MIS, all roles involved digital transformation, especially ERP development. My BScEng was in geography, and I have some IT background. My research is in digital transformation, custom ERP design and implementation, business automation. Do you think I'm good fit for the DEng program? My friend Shifa, uh, first of all, I don't know whether you know the meaning of Shifa or not. Shifa means health. So good to know a healthy person asking a very healthy question. This is a very unexpected question, but I will answer. At EIT, all candidates, irrespective of whatever their background, is judged by the application that they make. I have no problems that the work that you're doing is completely fitting in with our research area, especially digital transformation, implementation, and business automation. So there is no reason why you can't be acceptable. Yes, it all depends on your past qualification, your bachelor's and MSc, which is in geography and environment. But I have a student at the moment. His name is Gad Gabel. He's my student, and you'd be surprised that he didn't come from an engineering background. He came from a financial background, and um, he's doing a engineering analysis with me, and he's working on a very, very tough problem on the market of energy, which is not a traditional area. And he's working under my supervision. So, Shifa, with a lot of Shifa that you have, I believe that you can do this program at EIT. But look, I can't make a decision for you. But as far as your question is concerned, are you good fit? My answer to your question is that you are a good fit for the program. But if you don't apply, you'll never get it.
That
Right,
is
Professor?
Yes, that is correct, Prof. So there are entry requirements for the Doctor of Engineering program. As I've mentioned, I am going to leave the links in the chat box so that you guys are free to visit the website. I will also make sure to include the course advisor booking link so that you can book a call to speak with the course advisor. The entry requirements would be explained and you would be able to apply then after. For online, our applications are free, and then if you're interested in studying on campus, you would need to utilize an educational agent. They would be more than happy to assist with your application at the institution. Whilst we're still waiting for a couple of questions, these are our upcoming intakes for the Doctor of Engineering program. We will have an intake starting on the 3rd of March 2025. That is for the online course. And then the on-campus course will also start on the 3rd of March 2025. Please note the applications are open and you guys are more than welcome to apply for the program. And then upcoming webinars, as I've mentioned, this Doctor of Engineering Toolkit series is a series indeed. We have several topics that have run previously in the previous months, and we're left with two more topics actually. The other one will start on the 7th of November, Navigating the World of Academic Publishing. And then our last webinar is the 5th of December, Human Ethics and Research Integrity. So please be on the lookout for those particular webinars. You can also actually click on the link that will be sent in the PDF slides and register for that particular webinar. If you guys could please scan the QR code or click on the link. You can also take the link and just complete a quick survey for us. This is just to find out some questions that you might have, some recommendations you might have for these series that we have for the Doctor of Engineering. We also actually welcome feedback because it allows us to improve with anything that we do in the future. There is another question for you, Dr. Kalam. It is in the Q&A section. Again, it is from Dominique. Are you able to see it?
No, I can't. I mean, there's no question from them. Is it in Q&A or chat?
It is in Q&A. It's up top, so you need to click on the arrow to see the next question. It's
sorry,
just
there's a new post. Yes, I saw that.
Yes. Okay, no problem. Thank
Very
you.
informative and amazing. This is a very interesting question. Dominic, you want to know my my skill. And Dominic, first of all, thank you for asking that question. And I would like to share you, I'm a workaholic. So I love doing this job that I do. Just for your information, I'm 74 years of age. I'm not a young person like you, Dominic. And rail engineering is a very interesting area of research. There's no doubt about it. And there are a lot of jobs in that area which is coming. Now, if you are interested in doing a DEng in that area, then as I mentioned to Shifa, that you have to apply and see whether we can find an appropriate supervisor for you to do research in rail engineering. No doubt about it. I'm seeing more and more, not only rail engineering as for research perspective, but we have an organization called ARA, Australian Railway Association, and I see that a lot of research requirements are there in the rails area, and it could be anything from fitting fixtures, etc., to many complicated research, especially in the design of the compartments and how the whole thing should be fitted. It all depends on what you want, Dominic, and if you can write to us means to EIT, we'll try and find an appropriate supervisor if you fit into our bill. I hope I've answered your question, Dominic, but I love your question. I love your question because I've got 20 students, 14 PhD students, and 6 DEng students working under my supervision. So yes, and that's because I'm passionate. I love my work, and I'm research conscious, and I would like everyone not to be like me. Must spend more time with your family. That's what I think. Have I answered your question, Dominic? And Shifa, did I answer your question?
I think Dominic has already responded to you, Prof. His feedback is actually right on the Q&A section. There's a comment there. You can click on it to read it. I do believe I'll just wait for about 2 more minutes. If you guys have any more questions, please do so whilst we're still within the time frame, and then Professor Kalam can actually answer your questions. Other than that, please note that you will receive the recording as well as the PDF slides. I know people have been asking, and you most certainly will receive both of those within 2 business days. The marketing team will be able to send that information to you. I'll also leave the link for the survey, the booking link, future webinars, as well as the link to apply for our program.
Dominic, thank you very much for making me 55 years old. And I'm so glad that you think so. I wish others thought so too. And I'm so glad rail batteries, I forgot all about it. Rail batteries are going to be a big thing, especially with sodium-based batteries. I don't want to talk about rolling stock. We are having issues at the moment in Australia itself because we want to upgrade all our railways, including our trams. So there's a lot of improvement to be done. And believe me, whether you like it or not, there's a lot of things that you can do in this area. You can always drop me an email, but feel free whenever you want to talk to me. I'll be more than happy, Dominic.
I think we have a last question. It's from Ikani, and he says, "Good morning, Prof. I'm based in Nigeria. How can I do a PhD in computer engineering in your institution?" I'll just take the first bit off. We don't offer a PhD in computer engineering, Ikani. However, we do offer a Doctor of Engineering program, which is quite different. And I can tell you, the professor has already told us the difference between a PhD and the Doctor of Engineering. If you can go to our previous webinars, you'll be able to find information on that. However, Professor Kalam, I think you can provide him with more information if he is looking to specialize in computer engineering.
Yeah, we don't offer, as I told you, we normally offer computer engineering is a very vast field, especially the soft side of it. We don't offer any soft side. We only use the hardware type. That's why I use the word electrical, mechanical, civil, and automation. But computer engineering could fit in anywhere in electrical, mechanical, civil. And you have a postgraduate diploma in computer science and a master's in IT. So especially with machine learning and all the E type of things which is happening in the world today, I can't see any reason why you can't fit in one of our 4 broad areas that I talked to you about.
No problem at all. I hope that answers your question, Ikani. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for attending our presentation. We have concluded the Q&A section for this time. The information up on the screen is how to contact us. I will also include additional information in the chat box. It will be sent to you in the chat, so you don't have to worry about staying on to receive those links to contacting the EIT course advisors, lecturer, or seeing the information up on our website. Thank you so much for joining us. Professor Kalam, always a pleasure. Hoping to see you guys on the next one, which is going to be next month. Thank you so much and have a lovely rest of your day, guys. Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Ikani, just write to Supreso and she will send it to me if you want to send me an email.
Sure,
But
I
if
will
you
do
like
so.
to send me an email, it's akhtar.kalam@eit.edu.au. Just I'll write it down for you so that you know.
Okay, no problem at all. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. Hoping to see you on the next one from EIT. Goodbye.